Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this partial die cut tent card that I've seen. I can't remember who I saw this on now. It might have been Dawn Stamping Thoughts that I saw it. I can't remember where it was now, but anyway, I just really liked it. So basically you've got a tent card and then you open it up and this kind of pops, but if you look at the side, can you see it's kind of partially die cut on the front, which then means you end up with the die cut. It's attached at the bottom but not at the top, but it just looks really cool. It's a bit different. It's kind of like a card in a card, but it's just quite cool the way it works. So we're going to be doing that today. Here's another one I did with hexagons. So this is the one I did. So again, when you open it, the top half pops out. Oh, it's got stuck. Hang on, you just loosen it, and then when you open it up sideways, you get that cool kind of, a tent card inside a tent card kind of look. Okay, so we're going to have a go with that today. Okay, so for this card you need a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 card blank, and if you haven't got one of those, you just need a 5 3/4 by 11.5 inch piece of card that you score in half at 5 3/4, and that will give you a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 card blank. You also need a piece of pattern paper, nice and thin, don't go too thick. This is about 160 GSM, you don't want to go any more than that. And this is 5.5 by 5.5. And you want to go ahead and stick your pattern paper onto the front of your card. And you need to make sure you cover the whole thing in glue, because in a minute we're going to be die cutting it. Okay, so we're going to do that now. So you should end up with that, so you're all stuck down. Now you need to select a die. Now your die doesn't want to be too big. Obviously on the ones I did before I chose a heart for this one. And this die measures just under 4 1/4 wide by about 4 inches tall. My hexagonal one, again about 4 1/4 wide. So yes, you don't want to go anything bigger than 4 1/4, I would say. Okay, so today I'm going to be using this star, and this star measures, oh, it says 4.5, so that's probably the maximum. You just don't want to go too far. Yeah, I would say 4.5 is the maximum. Okay, so with your card like a tent fold, so top folding, you want to take your heart, your whatever die you've got, position it on nice and centrally. It's about there, I think, and then washi tape it down because you don't want it to move. So I'm going to washi tape that. If you have washi tape like I do, that sometimes it doesn't stick and sometimes it does, then you're best off to try and stick it to the inside of the die rather than the outside. I have got a bit here that's stuck on the outside, but most of it's stuck on the inside because I have found it does actually tear. But anyway, right, so once you've done that, you want to bring in your die cutting plates, and what you're going to do is you're going to put, with the card needs to stay folded, you're going to put your card so that it's on obviously the cutting plate, and then your top plate is not going to go all the way over. It's going to go so that the bottom part of the die hangs off. Okay, so can you see there? Oh, let me move it up a little bit. So can you see there? I can see part of the die and part of the card. So I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine like that. So it's not going to cut this bottom section. It's only going to cut the rest that is underneath the two plates. When you take it out of the die cutting machine, two things you might notice. First of all, you might have a bit of a line like I have going across, so where obviously the top plate was. That's fine, we can kind of even that out, and you can always, just keep it in mind that might be there. I did have a line originally on this one, but it now doesn't have a line. You see how there's, I mean, I can feel there is still a bit of a line, but it's not as bad as it was when I first did it, so just bear that in mind. The other thing you can do is you can hang it off the edge of your You can hang it actually off the edge of your plate, but I find you still get a line if you do that. But anyway, that's the first thing you'll find. The second thing you'll find, possibly, is when you peel your die off, let's just do this very carefully. When you peel your die off, you might find that the layer at the back of the back of the card has not cut. So I know that the back of my card hasn't cut. So if I just, oh, a bit of dirt in there as well. So I've found that on mine, if I open this up, this front bit is cut perfectly. That's fine. But if I open it up, the back has not cut. That is not cut at all. And that's quite common. That will probably happen. This is quite good a card blank as well. It's quite thick. So just take your die, put it back in. There will be some kind of indentation, some kind of ridge that you can fit it back into. Okay, so just fit it back in and then just run it through again with it open this time. Okay, and so if we do that like that, and then put the, move up a little bit, and then put this back into place. And again, I mean, the line serves as a purpose because at least you can see where your plates were. So there, like that. So I'm going to run that through again now. The other thing as well I want to mention as well is if you're using wet glue to stick your, if you use wet glue to stick your paper down, you need to make sure that that glue is completely dry before you put it through the die cutting machine. Because I have done it where I'll put it through thinking, oh yeah, it's dry. Wait a little bit, it's dry. And it all squeezes out around the outside. Okay, now you probably noticed that I put tape around the outside and wet glue in the middle. And the reason I did that was I don't have to wait then, because then if the glue squeezes, it's fine because there's a layer of tape that kind of stops it, acts like a barrier. It's a little tip for you. Okay, so let's just pop this die off. Right, so there you can see the back is now partially die cut. Okay, so you can see that, and the front is partially die cut. So you just put this to one side for now. We don't need that for the moment. We'll come back to that in a minute. You then need another piece of pattern paper, and you want to die cut your shape out of pattern paper. Now I've gone ahead and done that already, so I've die cut my star out of there already. And this is going to stick on the front here, like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's stuck down. So now we need to make the bit inside that's going to connect the two bits together. Okay, so you need another piece of card that, like a card blank basically, that is going to be a little bit bigger than your die. So my die, as you can see, it's a little bit bigger, and I do say a little bit bigger. Okay, it's a little bit bigger than the die. So this one that I've got here measures 5 inches by 10 inches, and obviously I've just folded it in half to make a 5 by 5 card blank. Okay, so what you want to do now is take your die. If you're using a star like I have, remember which way round you've done it. So I've done it with the pointed bit at the top and the 2 points at the bottom. So I need to remember that when I put this on now. So then put your die onto your card, and this time you're going to make sure that the top of your die hangs off the top of the card. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and washi tape that into position and then run it through the die cutting machine. And this time you just run it through a die cutting machine like you would any other die. You don't have to worry about, you know, doing half of it. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so hopefully your die will have cut through both of your layers, because you've got nothing else. Unless you've chosen a really thick card, you shouldn't have any problems. Also, my tape is actually, washi tape is actually tearing this card a little bit, but it's not a problem because this is actually the bit, we're going to stick this down in a minute, this side, so you're not going to see any of any tearing. So hopefully that should cut it. And as you can see, I've literally holding on by a tiny bit at the top there. Okay, on mine. When I did the hexagon, it was quite easy because I could make it, I could just, you know, you've got a whole line, so it's a lot to hold on. And with the heart, as you can see here, you've got two little bits there, and at the bottom you can see how much I left at the bottom. Not very much, hopefully you can see that. So with the star, yeah, I've got a little bit, but it's fine because you're going to be sticking it onto there, so it'll have extra support. This piece of card you can get rid of, or you can use it, whatever you want to do, but you don't need it for this card. So we're now going to go ahead and stick this in. So what you want to do is take your card blank, open it up, and on this bottom section here, you're going to glue this bit here and then just stick your closed card blank inside like that. And you'll notice that at the top of your card blank there's a little bit missing because obviously that's the bit you missed off, so you got the hinge, you got the folded bit. So we're going to go ahead and stick that down now. If you're using wet glue, like I am, just be careful that it doesn't end up sticking into the actual card. Okay, so I'm just pulling it up a little bit just so I can make sure it's definitely nice and registered, you know, it's nice and lined up, but also that bit of glue is not going to stick, so you know, it's not going to not pop out, if you see what I mean. Right, so now we've done that, what we're going to do next, we're just going to find the top bit, which is, oh, let's just unstick that as well. There we go, so that's nice and unstuck, and then this top bit here we're going to stick to this bit here, but it's really simple because you're literally going to add some glue or tape to the top of this card blank, and then you shut the large card blank on top, and then that sticks the whole thing together. So we've got a bit of glue on there, take the card blank and we just shut it on top and stick the star down. And again, just pull, if you're using wet glue, just pull this up just to make sure you're definitely not sticking the front down, you're only sticking the actual card bit down. Okay, and then when you open it up, oh, it's not quite stuck. Let me just stick that down now a second. Stick that down there. Now if you end up, I've not had this happen before, and I think it's probably because I'm using a star which has a point. If you're using a star die like mine, you might end up with the problem that I've now got, which is fine, and we can sort it out. So when you open it up, if you can see, the 2 points are kind of fighting each other at the top here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, obviously the front needs to have precedence, so I'm just going to tell it that. Basically, I'm going to push them together, I'm going to open it right up like that, and I'm just going to crease that back one and make sure it sticks. Okay, and that should be fine, because the front one, you want the front to be straight, so that's that. And so there you go, there you have your, so you've got a little inside, and obviously I did a yellow card instead of, like with the others I did white, so this was a white card base. I stamped the front and I used a white card base for the inside card as well, and then just used the pattern on the front of the heart. And then for this one, again, white card base, and I used white card base for the inside as well, patterned paper on the front and patterned paper on there, and I did a frame. And so for this one, I'm not going to do a frame, I'll probably put some gems around it or something, but inside I used a different colour because I wanted it, obviously our stars are kind of gold, aren't they? So I just thought it'd be quite nice if when you open it, that is a different colour. So it's really up to you. So yeah, so then all you need to do is add your greeting.